All right. Hey, what's up? It's your girl Neek, and you're tuned in to Neek at Night. Now, I have been inside the courtroom for the Karmelo Anthony trial every single day this week. For those of you guys who have been keeping up with the case, then you know today was a full on court day from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And there was a lot of key evidence that happened in this trial. Now, along with today being a lot of action packed testimony, I was also in the courtroom just like every other day. I was in the courtroom yesterday. Now, I briefly started to do a live video last night. I was pretty tired, so I put it on private, but everything that happened yesterday, everything that happened today, we're going to get on into it in this video right after my intro. I want to give some people some time to come on into my live. Make sure that you guys share the live, retweet the live, let people know that we're live over here. I'm going to give y'all 3 minutes to come on into the room, and then we're going to get on into everything.
We are out here in Beverly Hills with Raz B. I haven't seen you on the scene in a minute, so let the people know what you've been up to. Hey, what's up? I got Amara La Negra here with me tonight at the A Toast to Young Hollywood event. Hey guys, so I have the beautiful Layla Ali with me tonight. So I just want to first start off by saying your Instagram is an inspiration to go on a path to eat healthy, and you know, it is your 50th birthday. You don't look a day over 25.
You know what?
Let
Wait a
us
minute.
know how you do it.
First, everybody always say that. I think that's so cliche, and people know you don't look 25. Now, if you would have said maybe 40.
Hey, what's up? You're watching Neek at Night, and we have Keith Powers with us tonight.
Hey, how you doing?
You know, a lot of girls was like putting you as their, man crush, and you was their, aspiration to take you off the market. And when you came out with Bay, you crushed a lot of people. Like, Hey guys, so I have Daniel Cormier with me tonight, and it's crazy because my first UFC fight happened to be your fight.
I'm glad you were able to watch the first fight and it was mine and I won, because that could be some bad memories.
Right, I mean, okay, I'm not gonna lie, when I first seen it and I seen him
I thought I
come,
was gonna get my ass kicked.
yeah,
Look at you.
I'm not gonna tell a lie, okay? I'm gonna keep it honest. Definitely experience, you guys. That's Amarion, and we're at his word for word screening. It was super dope. Make sure you check it out. It drops tomorrow, and you don't want to miss it.
Thank you, baby.
Thank you.
It's your partner, Big Boy. What's happening in the voice of Los Angeles? Hello. You know what I do at night? I watch Neek at Night. Show you right. You thought I was going to say something crazy. Thought I was going to say something disgusting and nasty. Yeah. But guess what? When I watch that Neek at Night, I may be doing something disgusting and nasty. Look at her. Hello.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl Neek, and you're tuned in to Neek at Night. If this is your first time here, over here we are the Night Owls. If you have not hit that subscribe button, I want you to go ahead and do that right now, and turn on your notification bell so you're notified when I post another video. But just know, keep in mind that over here, this is an acquired taste. You know what I'm saying? This ain't for everybody. This is a channel where I talk about celebrity news and gossip and give my opinion on trending stories. I'm a woman who has a website as well. I sell lingerie, adult toys, sexy pajamas, and I even got stuff for going out to the club, nighttime wear, all of those goodies for you as well. You can find this along with a whole bunch of other new goodies. You can find this at www.neekatnight.com. I'm just going to do a live video, and we're going to get this done, and it's going to be bada bing, bada boom. All right, so hopefully you guys are making your way in. There is a lot to unpack today about this trial. There's a lot of moving parts. There's things that's going on behind the scenes. There's things that's going on in the courtroom. And if you know anything about covering trials, you know that there is always strategies and key things that they try to get out in front of the jury. Now, at this moment, before I even get into any of the particulars, where do I think the case stands right now? Normally, when we get to the point where we get to the defense case in chief in cases that I've covered before, by the time the state rests, the defense has put up so many strikes that a lot of times it's not necessary for their client to go on the stand because they have proven so many elements that it's not needed. However, in this case, the defense has not tipped the scale to where it's heavily in Karmelo's favor at this point. Even before we go into any of the testimonies, every day that I'm in the courtroom, I am observing the court, right? I'm looking at the judge. I'm looking at the witnesses. I'm looking at how things are landing with the jury. I'm looking at just the atmosphere overall, and I am taking a ton of notes, okay? I'm taking a ton of notes. One thing that I noticed right off the bat, there's one, like all of the older jurors, like the ones that look like they have kids and maybe probably already on the verge of having grandkids. It's not that many of them. But in my opinion, I think that the defense has already lost all of the older jurors. Anytime the defense talks, the oldest jurors in the room, because this is an unusual case where they have a larger amount of younger jurors than I usually am used to seeing in these cases. However, I feel as though the older jurors, he's going to have a damn good explanation as to why he had the knife to win them over. I think that so far, anytime they put like the 911 calls, or anytime they put like the body cam footage, like there is 2 women jurors who I never see them actually crying, but they're close. Like you can see them emotionally, like looking at the evidence. And what is also interesting is the layout of the courtroom. So the jurors are on the left side of the courtroom. The Metcalf family is also on the left side of the courtroom. Karmelo on the right side because he is the defendant and he's positioned on the right. So naturally, his family is on the right. Now, being that the jurors are on the left and the Metcalfs are on the left, there are a lot of moments where showing the body cam, showing the 911 footage, and certain things like that, they are crying, sniffling, reaching for tissue, all of those things. And while they're doing that, they're in the line of sight of these older jurors who I'm looking at, like certain parts, they're looking at, like they're not looking dead at the Metcalfs, but they are like, you can just feel it. Like you can just feel the energy, like especially like these particular jurors, like I'm looking, and it's this one juror who always her face, like she's like me, like how I feel, you can see it on my face. You know what I mean? Like you can literally see on her face that she has a connection to the family, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. Like you can tell because whenever the defense is speaking, it don't look like they like, he's not like, I don't know if that makes sense. However, they still have next week to put on their case. And if Karmelo is able to basically have an explanation, because everything hangs on why he had the knife, right? And what is clear to me is there are several things that are clear, okay? What's clear is all of the students that were called by the prosecution, they sound very rehearsed. They sound each and every one of them have a different story. each person is saying, well, Karmelo said, touch me and find out. And another person is saying, he said, make me leave. And then another person is saying, oh, he called them some pussies and said, y'all pussy. Like, each student has a different phrase or a different saying or a different thing. Like, all of their stories are different. One person is saying Hunter was involved. Another one saying he's not involved. But what's clear is majority of them are saying that they joined in on taunting him. They didn't say it in that way, but if a person is telling somebody leave, they don't belong there, and then you also are chiming in and saying, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. And then another student all is ganging up on one student, telling him he don't belong. And you got one student laughing about it, pulling out his phone, egging it on. To me, that sounds like a clear case of bullying. However, I don't think that them bullying him is enough to get over the knife portion of it, right? Because the prosecution has been driving home with every single witness, even the defense witnesses that were called today, that there was absolutely no reason why Karmelo Anthony should have had his knife. Okay. They showed us a picture of the front of the school where there's this big blue banner that says ISD track meet, and then it listed off a list of things that was considered prohibited items. So it was like, you can't bring in tobacco, you can't bring in weapons, you can't bring in, all of these different things. I would have to go to my notes to get the exact list because I wrote it down. But it was saying like this list of items that you cannot bring in that are weapons. Now, outside of that meat, in the law, he can have a pocket knife. Now, one thing that I did note, and I think that everything that has been said so far is said for a reason. I'm wondering if the reason why the defense stated that he loved camping is because there's going to be a link to why he had the knife or why it was in his bag or something like that. Now, today, they showed that Karmelo Anthony takes a lot of photos, okay? He has several photos with this one student that tried to downplay them knowing each other. They were able to show, hey, look at you and such here. Like you and Karmelo, he in your house. He like y'all together here, like y'all playing basketball. Like the student tried to downplay, like, oh, I only seen him 2 or 3 times. It wasn't really nothing. But then you see that their relationship is much more intimate than that. So you see clearly he's lying about his association with Karmelo, which then proves that he's most likely lying about a lot of the details that he's saying that clearly show you that he was a big instigator in this. Now, Austin approached him. Austin was the biggest one. And what they thought, from listening to all their testimonies, Karmelo is a little skinny black boy. You got these big linebacker white boys, and then you got all these black kids that are also vouching these big white boys. So they felt empowered to like, oh, this is like, they thought that he was a buster, like, oh, like, you're a little punk. Like, basically, that's what all of their testimony proves at this point, that they looked at him, they prejudged him based on him being small, and they thought that they can punk him. And they thought that they was going to be able to punk him and he was not going to defend himself. Okay? I believe that he defended himself. However, the fact that he had the knife too, like, it's a catch-22, because it's like, on one hand, you defended yourself, but on another hand, you weren't even supposed to have the knife in the first place to defend yourself. You get what I'm saying? So it's like a catch-22 type of situation. So they've proven that, and all of the students that were called by the prosecution, they sound extremely rehearsed. a lot of the comments that they're making are not natural conversations that a teenager would have. And it's not natural that every single teenager would use the same buzzwords. All of them are using the exact same buzzwords, and it sounds coached, it sounds rehearsed, and they sound like they're lying. Okay. However, regardless of them lying and regardless of them bullying him, because it's like, okay, he bullied you and they're wrong for bullying you. And, you know, like if they were bullying you, he put his hands on you, he pushed you or whatever. You haven't it wasn't equal force. You get what I'm saying? But it's clear they bullied him. Like, that's not, like, that can't be contested. I don't care how much they try to paint it and say Karmelo was the aggressor. He tried to goad him. That's BS. Anybody with critical thinking skills listening to those testimonies can tell that that's complete BS. The only major hurdle above that is the reason why he had that knife. Everybody wants to know, why did you have the knife in the first place? Because the prosecution is doing a really good job at driving home the fact that he should have never had it in the first place. Even the defense witnesses that they called today all corroborated that same fact, that he should not have never had it in the first place, right? Like, even their own witnesses were like, yeah, I do agree. He shouldn't have never had it in the first place. So in order for him, I feel like, kind of like, because the scales are like leaning towards the prosecution. I'm going to be on, like, I'm in the courtroom. I'm not going to lie to y'all, even though I feel like, you know, there are certain people surrounding the case that are trying to, like, even though they're like making it seem like the case is going a particular way, they're misleading people on how it's actually going because they're liars. But whatever. Like, it's going a particular way only because they're trying to make it seem like, oh, like the kids are credible, they're telling the truth. They're not. Like, it's clear that the kids are liars. It's clear. And it's clear that they were bullying him. The only hang up is what hurts him is him having it in the first place, because, like I said, every single witness, they are driving the fact, the prosecution is making it land, like he's making it stick, like. And I don't think that the defense is doing a good enough job to, when the prosecution say, well, he should have never had it in the first place. And again, they have legal motions, they have 403 issues that they can't say certain stuff that we don't even know what they can or they can't say. There's motions that happen before trial even started, right? So in my head, I'm like, well, why you not, like, when the prosecution, like, bring it back to the fact of, well, he should have never had it in the first place. Why are you not bringing them back to the fact that it wasn't a situation where he was antagonizing them? You know, like, whenever they prove, like, or they like make it land and they're like, well, because everybody knows that, like, I think the prosecution even knows that the kids are, their stories are like clearly full of it. You know what I mean? Like, trying to downplay their role. Like, if you listen to each person's story, each person says, I told him he better go. And then another person testifies, I told him he better go. So if you got 5 kids telling you, you better leave, boy, and laughing at you and telling you, oh, you ain't got nothing in your bag. Oh, yeah, he's from Frisco. He ain't got nothing in his bag. That's the aggressors to me. And also, he's not like, they're talking about the tone and everything like that, but I don't think the defense is doing a good enough job to be like, So you mean to tell me a boy who came down, he was polite. They've proven that when he first came down, he was polite. He didn't get, an attitude until they spoke to him. But I don't feel like he's doing a good enough job to drive home the fact that you mean to tell me a boy that's respectful, he's asking people to move or whatever, like, no, like y'all came at him sideways. You were trying to intimidate him. You got 5 kids or so all trying to gang up on him, and he's betrayed by the one student he went to talk to that he been hanging out with for the last few months. He not speaking for him. So now he looking at all of y'all like ops. And they're not, but I feel like I still have to give them a little bit of time due to the fact that we still have time for next week for him to get on the stand and explain. Okay? I think that they should be able to explain how, you know what I mean? From his eyes, I see this big guy. He over 200 pounds. He's in my face. I'm small. I don't know what he's going to do to me. I have nobody that has my back. The one person that I thought would have my back, he done switched up on me. So now I can't trust him. I'm outnumbered. I'm at a school. I went to a campground. I mean, not a campground. I went to a tent that I thought, and mind you, they also testified that he's been under that tent before. He's hung out at that tent, and they also showed photos of him and the one student that he went to go talk to hanging out at a bench together, like, and they're from different schools, and they had another witness prove that they all have mingled together under the tent. They show photos, etc., of, another track meet where him and the boy were sitting together. He's going to have to really bring them into his view, because I'm here, I'm sitting down. I go to talk to a guy who you see my relationship. We were cool, like, can you imagine? Right. So this is the situation, and I'm gonna go through everything in a second, but I just wanted to say those things first. Okay. So this is the situation, right? Karmelo is dating this girl. Okay. And I think that, and I don't know, but with the way kids are, it seems like because it almost seems like, it made me wonder, and another person had made this comment too, like, did boy that he went to go talk to, he probably secretly, like, he's saying that the girl was his cousin, but did he secretly, like, was he secretly jealous of them being together? Because everything else is weird. Or is he just that much of a kid that wasn't raised on integrity? Because his integrity is in question. He like the way that he's operating, like, he tried to say, I only know him 2 to 3 times. He like, his integrity, like, is questionable, extremely. But I wonder if, on top of him not having a good integrity, was he jealous because they were dating, and you know what I mean? Or is there proof or whatever like that? But this is the situation. Karmelo is dating a girl, right? He's dating a girl, and he goes to her family's house. He goes to her family's house, and they are big on taking pictures. They take pictures all the time. And they have all of these family gatherings. You can tell that Karmelo's girlfriend comes from a very tight-knit, loving family. Like, you can tell that, that they pride themselves on family. Family is important. And because they have these gatherings, and they always make sure that they're capturing the moments. And good thing they are able to capture the moments, because what if they never had all of these pictures to prove that this guy was lying about like knowing him and everything like that? So Karmelo has this girlfriend. He gets invited to a family gathering. At the family gathering, he meets this kid who the kid's family and the girlfriend's family are very close, so much close to where their offspring call each other cousins. Y'all know how y'all got your mama's best friend and the kids, you know, you say that's your cousin. That's their situation. Their families are so close that they call each other cousins, right? So Karmelo he's dating a girl. He's invited to the family. The family, you can tell, really likes Karmelo because of how in the pictures they showed us, the girlfriend's mother, she's always like, you know, she's like close to him, smiling. Like you can tell that they really approved of their daughter dating him by the way they embrace him and make him feel a part of the family in those photos. Like if you look at the photos, you can't even tell like he's just a boyfriend. You know what I mean? Like they like the way that they include him, make sure he was included, make sure that they embraced him, make sure that he was close to them. You can tell that they really accepted him. So they accept him as the girl, the boyfriend, right? And a family friend, he meets this kid. Every time they're having gatherings, he's hanging out with this kid, right? The kid is even going on double dates with him, Karmelo and the girlfriend. And you thinking that he cool. Like if y'all seen the photos of them together, like him and the kid, like they're goofing off. They got pictures to where they're like doing this to the camera, like just being silly. And like there's a picture where Karmelo's like playing the guitar and he's like playing the guitar, and then the other boys like being goofy. And they have pictures to where like they were really like vibing, like cool, like they were cool or whatever. It was more than just an acquaintance. You get what I'm saying? Like you have people that are associates you say hi and bye to, and then you have people who are like more than an acquaintance, like you more than cool. Like, you know, we vibe and like we kind of like, you know what I'm saying? We kind of function together, like we vibe together, we cool, like we have fun together. Like it's represented in the photos that they showed. And there were several events that they went to together. So imagine Karmelo, right? He's going to have to put the jury in his shoes, right? I have this kid that I have spent so many family close-knit moments with where we've had a good time. We didn't have no bad blood. You know, I've hung out with him on track meets 10 days prior. Me and him was kicking it at the track meet. There's pictures of us like sitting together. We having, you know, conversations. It's cool. We kicking it. We vibing. So imagine me thinking that that day would be any different where we were just vibing 10 days prior. I go up to him and I say, what's up? We dap. And I sit down. It's clearly raining outside. And I'm just trying to have a conversation with him like I've had before. His friends come in from his school and start confronting me, coming at me sideways. And the guy who I've been finding to be like, I thought was the homie, is letting his schoolmates come at me sideways. He's not even checking them for talking to me crazy. I only have myself to have my own back, right? So he's sitting there. He don't have nobody on his side. It's him against an entire school of kids that feel like because he's small, they can punk him. So, and on top of that, the guy that he thought was cool and a homie is egging them on to taunt him. So imagine it's not even just about Austin telling you to get out the tent. It's the fact that this guy who Ain't nobody said nothing to me but him. He comes to me and talks to me sideways. You don't say nothing. You're letting them talk to me sideways, and we supposed to be cool. Then it's all these other kids, because I was under the impression the way that the media was talking, especially because there's this one woman who has a connection to the Metcalf family, and she she spreads like a lot of hate online. So I thought that these were gonna be some kids that are nothing, like they surrounded by nothing but white kids. This is probably an all-white school. This was what I thought based on the people who are connected to the Metcalf family and how they spew all of this hate online. I thought that the school was going to be a reflection of that. They have shown that the school is diverse based on who they strategically called to the stand, right? They strategically called a number of Black kids to the stand, and they strategically called less white kids. So in my mind, seeing that there's all these mouthpieces that, there's people who spew a lot of hate online, but like at the courthouse, you know what I mean? They you see them embracing the Metcalfs are talking to them, and you know what I mean? So I thought that the school was going to be a reflection of hate. However, there's been a lot of students that go to that school that have been coming to the courthouse, that are not testifying. They're polite, they're sweet kids, you can tell, they're like that, they're not, it's not like that, so I'm not I'm not on the jury, so the jury only can go off of who is testifying, right? I'm looking at the complete picture. I'm like, damn, what I thought the school was gonna be like. I'm seeing all these racists spewing all this negative stuff. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, they're going to a school and it's probably nothing but white kids that hate Black people. You get what I'm saying? That's what I thought based on the racists that are speaking out and making this a race thing. But the prosecution has done a very good job at putting on a lot of Black kids. And these Black kids are vouching for him, and they love him so much that they would clearly lie for him on the stand, because the kids are clearly lying. None of their stories match. You know what I mean? Everybody's saying something different. So it's like they would even lie for him to the pack. And then on top of that, they would join in helping bully a Black kid, right? So you have all of these kids that are testifying. The boy who he went to and talked to today, I don't know what his nationality is, but he looks mixed, right? To me, I don't know. If I just seen him walking down the street, I would think that his parents, he had at least one Black parent. Now, the parent that was in the courtroom is not Black, but I would think that his father probably is Black. He looks mixed, right? Then you had a lot of other kids that testified on the stand that were Black kids. You know what I mean? And so they're doing a good job at trying to to paint the picture it's not that these are white racist kids. Look at all his Black friends. You get what I'm saying? It's look, he has they have look, they're not racist. Look, they got Black friends. And so because I was like, what I thought going in is not what I'm seeing. And they know the rhetoric online, right? They know the rhetoric is it's whites against Blacks. So they're showing, look, this Black kid loves Austin. He's crying on the stand. And when he cries, the mother because they putting the black kids on the stand and they're breaking down and crying, right? One of them start crying and then immediately it set off his mama. She's boo-hoo crying, like, you know what I mean? And the family's crying and like, look, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a whole little thing going on, right? Then you have the fact that the prosecution is like, he keeps like, I don't know if y'all understand what I'm saying. Some people think that my explanation is biased. I don't know where you get bias from. If anything, I'm telling you the real. Like, I'm like, this is what is going on in the courtroom. The problem with bloggers is a lot of times you guys will look at like skewed narratives. I don't care that there are racists around the court and spewing hateful things. That's not in my heart, right? Like, it's not in my heart to be a liar. So I wouldn't lie on the case. For what? Like, you can always go and get transcripts later. So it's no point to lie about things like that, right? And I'm just telling y'all what I'm observing. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie to y'all. Like, my perception going into the case, the prosecution knows what our perception is going to be. They know that they've made it a race thing. And so they have been very strategic in how they have been putting these witnesses on. Because even me, I'm thinking, I said, these probably ain't nothing but some redneck, kids. And that doesn't mean that he's not a bully. And that doesn't mean that he likes black people, because I don't know the Metcalfs. You get what I'm saying? I don't know them. Like, I don't know Austin, or you know what I mean? I don't know Hunter, because they could very well play sports, have black friends, and still not like black people. You get what I'm saying? However, outside of the case, from my observation, like, a lot of his school members have been coming to the court. They have been black. They have been white. And I look at how the mom like embraces them. Now, some people could say, hey, the mom probably being performative. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it to me, because I look at the fact of, it's not just how she is like embracing the kids and hugging the kids and stuff. It's how they like loving on her and wanting to make sure like she has support and stuff like that. And it don't give that. Now, I will be honest. The mom, to me, I don't really get like racist. You get what I'm saying? I get like, she seems like a loving mom, like, you know what I mean? Like, to like, just from looking. However, there are other people in the family that I get that vibe from, but I don't get that vibe from the mama. You get what I'm saying? And so now, as far as the other people, like the father and like some of the other like women in the family, I don't know. Some of them give the black, you know what I mean? But I don't know. So anyways, that's neither here nor there. But I'm just saying, like, just looking at it overall, I feel like the biggest hurdle is going to be that why he had the knife. Why he had the knife. Why was it there? Because to me, it's clear they bullied him. It's clear that he was within his rights to defend himself. But the question is, was he within his rights to stab? But the optics, he's, like I said, he's going to have to put us in his mind. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, it's me. I'm by myself. The guy who I thought was cool, he done turned on me. Now it's me against him. You got this big brolic linebacker of a dude in my face, or trying to, punk me. Because that's another thing that they're not like explaining, like, you know what I mean? Like, they were trying to punk him. And I don't know that the defense is, because they're letting the prosecution paint this picture as like, oh, he goaded them, he provoked them. No, they were trying to punk him. And because he stood up for himself, then it's being shaped a particular way because he had a weapon that he wasn't supposed to have. It's clear he was bullied. It's clear they thought they can bully him because of his size. It's clear that they're trying to downplay each person's role because they're like, they want to, like, you know, take up for their friend. It's clear that he was not a threat to them before Austin put his hands on him. However, what is not clear, which maybe again will be cleared up when he testifies, is if he had, like, what situation made him feel like he needed a knife on him. Now, in my opinion, right, me experiencing Collin County, it's very racist. Okay? Very racist. Like, the people, like, I've never dealt with this level of racism. And it's dangerous racism because they got the white lie. Like, because they're white, they already have that, like, you know what I mean? Like, if they lie on you, like, you're black, right? I'm black. So they automatically look at us a particular way. And so when you have white people, when they on their Karen shit, they're going to automatically take their word over yours, just because of that's how racism works. They put them here and they put us here. I don't feel like they're above me, but I'm just saying, racists, you know what I mean? They're the ones that are, you know, in positions to keep it that way, right? And so in this area, what I've even been experiencing from myself is, you go to the officials or you go to the people, they're not going to do anything about it, right? Because these is they, like, you know what I mean? Like, the kids in the schools or the officials, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know their stats as far as how they deal with bullying, but I can't see the fact of, like, how I've been experiencing racism in this town. I can't see that it would be any different for Black kids in those schools. So in my opinion, it gives that you got to defend yourself because the officials don't have your best interest at heart. Like, and so the same way that they're operating at court and they are not taking the threats to our lives serious, and there are, you know what I mean? I can only imagine that it's probably the same thing at those schools, to the point to where a kid may feel like, hey, this school not gonna do nothing when I get bullied. Like, I gotta have me because the school not gonna have my back. I can imagine, like, my only experience is Collin County Courthouse, and each day, like, you know, at first they was like very nice, this, that, but then as the days go by, you start, like, you know, the mask start to slip, and you see that they gonna back each other. You get what I'm saying? So if you know that they're not going to have your back, even when, because this is the thing, they will know that the other person is wrong, right? It'll be a white person. They will know that they're wrong. There will be evidence, right? Because in my case, all you got to do, pull the surveillance. Pull the surveillance. You know what I mean? Just my experiences at that courthouse, I can stand on any claim that I have made can be verified if y'all pull this surveillance. And I need to figure out, you know what I mean, on certain things like that, like how like, is that a way, like, to pull the surveillance to prove certain things, right? But even when they can verify that person is in the wrong, right? But they back each other. So I can only imagine that a school would be the same way. And you have experiences that show these people, they're not really going, like, you got to, like, you know what I mean? It's me. Like, I got to defend me. You get what I'm saying? So we're going to have to see what he says and how he explains it. Okay. Now, going to the testimony, I have the testimony for yesterday. There was a lot of people who testified yesterday and a lot of people who testified today. Do you guys want me to go over? Do you guys want me to start with all of the testimony from today? Or do you want me to start from yesterday and then go all the way through? Like, start from yesterday and then just read everything through? Or do y'all want, like, what happened today? Let me know. Let me know. Go in order. Some people are saying today. Some people saying yesterday. Today, yesterday. Y'all is saying, like, y'all not making it easy. Somebody said yesterday, so it'll make sense. And before I do that, let me let y'all know. Okay, so hold on. Have y'all, as y'all coming on in, before we go into the actual testimony, have you guys liked the video? Have y'all shared the video? Oh yeah, let me put up a poll and ask. But I feel like by the time I put up a poll, it's gonna be time to get to the next thing. What was I about to do? Like the video. Okay. And also, out here in Texas, like, I would really appreciate if y'all donate to the channel. This has been a very, very, very different experience for me. I've experienced racism like no other. Like, you will literally have people who they are documenting their harassment. Like, they show like that. They show that they have pictures where they're harassing people. You make a claim and you're saying, like, listen, these people are harassing me. And people are like, you're lying, even though you don't have harassing things on your page. You're not following people. Like, you're not, you know what I mean? All of those things. But you will see that, like, they literally are doxing people. They are, you know, following people around, photographing them. They're literally documenting their harassment. But they will say that you're harassing them, and people will be like, oh my God, poor you, even though all the harassment that they're doing is on their page. It's crazy. But anyways, so y'all said go in order. Okay, so we're gonna start from yesterday, but I'm gonna need y'all to support. This is, like I said, this is a trial like no other. Neek at Night Media is the Cash App. My uncle has been holding it down with me out there. He has been making sure I'm cool. Yesterday, when some incidents happened, I had told him earlier to leave, but we are not having that any longer. Like, he's not gonna leave my side. But I do want to bless him for making sure that I'm safe and making sure that there are other protocols happening to make sure that. But I do want to bless him. And I also want to, we got to cover, you know, some travel expenses, all of those things like that. If y'all want the true unbiased reporting, okay, check out my page. Check out Queen Sheba page. The North Carolina Beat was covering this as well. Dennis Byron has been covering this as well. There's so many people that are here at the courthouse and everything covering this. Check out Dennis, check out Sheba, check out Gerald from the NC Beats. Okay, there's other people at the courthouse, but I don't know their I don't know everybody's handle. but you got Queen Sheba, you got Dennis Byron, you have Gerald from the NCB, and you got me. I'm about to give it to y'all with the facts. I'm not driven by racism. Okay, so I'm not gonna skew the facts because other people are skewing facts. I'm gonna tell y'all the facts straight up, and this is how this coming through in the court, because that's how it's coming through in the court. Period. All right. So let's go to yesterday's testimony. It started with chaos in the beginning. Okay, it was complete anarchy in the beginning. It was total mayhem. Y'all seen how everything was going on. Oh, and another thing, there has been several people coming out to cover this trial. There has also been people who have not been going into the courtroom that have been recording the line, right? I want anybody who has been coming down to Collin County and you guys have been covering the line, please send me videos of your coverage of the line. It is very important, and I'll tell you why it's important later. But if you've been on my Instagram, then you probably got an inkling. But you know, some people are lying about the way that the line situation is going. I know day one, there was a TikToker that documented the line and showed that it was her, another girl, and me in line first at the courthouse. And there's a video that proves that and proves that other people were not there and proves that they were not there before me. So anybody else that has video of the line, video when I'm walking to the line, video when I get in the line, because there's other people who have video that you probably have it in your phone and you probably haven't uploaded it. Please email me, neek@night1, because it is so many people with cameras out there before they make it in a courtroom that are taking video of the line. Please send me your videos that prove when I arrived, proved when I got into the line, and proved when I made it in the courtroom. I don't have a video of me recording the line because my intention is to go in the courtroom, and you cannot bring your phone in the courtroom. So it doesn't make sense for me to line up with my phone to go in a courtroom that I can't bring my phone in. So I don't have my phone when I'm going in the courtroom because you can't bring your phone in the courtroom. But there's other people who have been in the line who didn't make it in the courtroom, or they walking up and they have their phone and they're documenting their experience. And some of you guys have caught me on video walking to the line. neek@night1 is my Gmail. Please email me all of your videos. But that's all I'm going to say about that for right now. Because we can always refute things with facts. I prefer to, instead of having like this person lie and da-da-da, just let, you know what I mean? Anyways, y'all get my drift. So back to the case. We're going to start with yesterday's testimony. Grab your snacks. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure if you ain't got $5, $10 to tip, $20 to tip the travel fund, make sure at minimum you are hitting the like button and hitting the share button as well. Okay, make sure you are doing both of those things, and let's get into it. Okay, so yesterday we started out the day with a witness by the name of Neil Adams. All right, so Neil Adams was a firefighter paramedic, and he was one of the people who came and arrived and started to work on Austin Metcalf. All right, So I'm just going to read through the testimony. Basically, for those of you guys who are new here and those of you guys who have never seen my coverage before, I cover high profile cases. I've covered the Diddy trial. I've covered the Tory Lanez trial. I've covered T.I. and Tiny OMG Dolls trial. I've covered ASAP Rocky trial. I've covered, who else? The Nature Boy trial. Every single trial that I have covered, major publications have picked up my factual and accurate reporting. My coverage of the Nature Boy trial ended up in the Hulu documentary, The Cult of Nature Boy. My coverage in the Tory Lanez trial ended up on TMZ, all of the major publications in Hulu documentaries, all kind of documentaries. I don't even know all the names because there was so many Tory Lanez stuff being made. And my receipts were the ones that was being used. For the Diddy trial, we ended up on CNN for our factual and accurate reporting. And for the ASAP Rocky trial, I was able to interview a juror that was seen on TMZ and written up in articles. Also, we had interviewed a juror after the case had wrapped in a mistrial for the T.I. and Tiny situation. We interviewed a juror in that case. After the verdict was read with ASAP Rocky, our interview with the juror upon the verdict made it to all kind of major publications. So we cover these trials, and our coverage, because no matter what, we keep it real, no matter what it is, has landed in a lot of things. So if you guys are new here, I cover trials. I go all over, and we've done this. Also, somebody said YSL, right? Also, I cover celebrity news. I cover trending stories. I really like to cover like femicide, where there is situations that are happening to women. But my primary audience is Black people, because that is my culture and that is who I talk about. I don't normally have racist or, certain people in my spaces, but we welcome everybody over here because we are not hateful. Okay, we have people that watch us from every nationality. Even though it's not my highest demographic is Black people, there are people of all races. Like Riley is one of my consistent followers that is a white woman. Like she been with me for years, baby, like years. Okay, we got races from everybody, like different races, but the highest demographic is Black. But we welcome everybody. All right, so let's get to the commentary. Make sure you guys are tipping the Cash App, because we got to make sure Unc is blessed for coming out here. We got to make sure that is covered, because there's a lot going on, and so on and so forth. So, all right. So the first person was the firefighter. Now, the prosecution, they are like, I peep what he doing, but I don't know that. And Shannon said, this white lady loves you. Thank you, Shannon. The prosecution is slick. So let me tell you what he did yesterday. Yesterday, they were about to play the video where Austin was getting worked on, and his face was pale, and his like he was like, basically the video where he was losing his life and stuff. The prosecution, he gonna be like, telling the paramedic guy, like, we've looked at this video, right? We've made sure that this isn't something too graphic for the family. This wasn't something too graphic that they can't watch, right? And then the guy's like, this is cool for the family to watch, right? Like, it's not too graphic, it's cool. And then so he's saying that within earshot of the jury. And then what do? Put a video on of this young boy losing his life, colorless in the face, bloody. And what does the family do? Immediately lose it. But he knew that. it's like the strategies that they were using, it's like Karmelo's lawyer better get in the game, because at this point is, you know what I mean? Like the range is 5 to 99 or 2 to 20. And how well he does goes from that range down to a not guilty. And I'm not saying that it can't be a not guilty, but he really needs to get in the game. Okay. His co-counsel is good, but they need to drive some more stuff home. But we still have not heard the full case. So, anyways, the prosecution is doing little stuff. Also, what the prosecution did today in front of the jury, he made it a big thing to be like, to tell the Metcalf family to leave out. Right? No, I think the jury had left. Wait, was the jury in there? I think the jury was in there. And then he was like, leave. Like, I need y'all to leave. Like, you know, like, because the medical examiner was about to come and testify. So I'm thinking, oh my God, like they about to put some graphic pictures and we all gonna see, because they're making the family go. Like it must be something like so crazy that they're not gonna be able to handle it. He put on this big charade about how the family needs to leave and how he suggests that they leave and it's important that they leave. Then when the medical examiner came to testify, he doing like this with the pictures. Like say this the jury. Hold on. Let me grab my empty pack of gum. Oh, this is green, so you can't see this. Hold on. Let me see what else I can get right here. My phone. Right? Okay, say this. This is my phone. I mean, this is the jury. This is him. This is the fam. Okay, so the family is right here. Then the jury. Hold on. Anyways, he doing like this, showing the jury. Like, let's say the family is behind me, right? Or the family had left. Right? The family had left. It was like one or two family, but all of his like friends was still in there. He put on this big charade about how they needed to leave, right? But this how he's showing it to the jury. They don't put it on the monitors. When she actually showed the pictures of like his heart, his cut, all of that, he doing like this to show it to the jury. Like say somebody behind me and you making sure they don't see. This how he's showing it to the jury. So I'm like, if you knew you was going to show it to the jury like that to make sure nobody in the gallery seen, what was that big charade about making this grand exit for the family? It's all strategy. Okay? It is all strategy. And I'm going to see what happens next week. But maybe they're going to get some better strategy, but the prosecution is playing the game. You feel me? They you know, anyways, back to the because he put on his whole thing. So I'm thinking I'm like, oh my God, what are we about to watch? Oh my God, like I'm thinking the girl next to me, she like, oh, I don't know, I want to see this. She like, oh my God, I don't want to see this. So, and I'm thinking like, damn, I'm thinking to myself like, fuck, do I want to mentally see this? Should I leave? Should I stay? Should I leave? And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just stay because I'm here and I got to, you know what I mean? I want to, like, whatever is shown, I want to be able to tell y'all. So we waiting like, oh my God, they about to show the pictures for him to go like this to the jury. Like this, all of us in the gallery, he doing like this. And he doing like, anyways, all right. I said anyways too much. Like, let me get to the testimony. All right. So the testimony, it was the witness by the name of Neil Adams. He was a firefighter. He worked for the fire department. Okay. And also too, right? This is the last thing. I'm gonna get on topic of the whenever I'm in court, I write down as much as I can, but I'm writing it with a pen and a paper so I don't catch everything. So sometimes I got to paraphrase, right? This is not a transcript of court. This is me writing as much as I can. And sometimes I have to like shorten stuff and paraphrase. So we're going to get to it. Somebody said, dude, you're doing too much. You're welcome to watch anybody else's coverage that is there. Queen Sheba is an awesome blogger. She's in the courtroom. If I'm doing too much, watch her. She does awesome commentary. Gerald from the NCB, Dennis, all of them, like, check their pages out. So anyways, so the paramedic. So, okay, so first they get a background of his background. So it says he graduated high school. He went to the fire academy. He went back home to be a paramedic firefighter and EMT through the state of Texas. He does life-saving treatments. He gives drugs and performs skills done at the hospital. They have a doctor that has strict guidelines for them to perform care. At certain points of a person doesn't want, like, so basically they ask them, like, is there anybody that you don't like work on? Like, if somebody needs help and they tell you that they don't want your help, like, what do you do? And he was basically saying, like, there's a scale that they have to like weigh, and if the person says that they don't need treatment and they meet a certain criteria, then they won't treat them. But if they are the other way on the criteria, like, and he didn't say life-saving measures, but certain things like that, like, they got to treat them regardless of what the person says. And that's me paraphrasing. So anyways, so they wanted to take him back to April 2nd and how all of that went. So it said on April 2nd, he was working at Station 6. He received what's called a tone out, that they got a stabbing at the stadium, and him and his partner responded to the call. Dispatch put in notes, so they kind of already got a feel of kind of what they were walking into. And in the notes, it basically said it was a track meet, and they knew that it was kids there. And there was already another station that was kind of like en route that was the closest, but they basically also still were en route to respond. It says that when they got there was a paramedic team that was there, but because he was like the one in charge, he took over once he got there. So he says that he had 5 operations, and his partner on the ambulance and 3-1. The engine one said it took them about 6 to 7 minutes to arrive. They said when they arrived, it was wet and mist was falling and to rain, and it got more on like it started raining more like closer to the time that they were there. It says when they first got there, it was kind of a drizzle, but then it started raining hard at one point. It says that when they got there, he was laying, and the paramedic jumped in. He got in charge. It says then they showed a photo of the paramedics under the tent. So what they showed was, okay, so take us to the day of, like, is this picture a reflection of the environment when you showed up? So basically they showed a picture of like an ambulance, like paramedic truck, and they showed the bleachers where they had the tent for their school over the area where they were working on Austin. So he says that he said at first the tent wasn't there, but once it started to rain hard, they went and got the tent from where it was, and then they put it over Austin so that while they're working on him, it's not like rain falling on him. So they went and moved the tent from the bleachers. And then it says that he parked, he immediately ran down to where the crew was. He checked to see like the pupils, if the pupils were dilated. He said that when he got there, Austin was gray in color and he did not have a post. He said that he had to use what's called a chest Lucas device in place. And they were using the machine to do CPR. So basically, he comes up, they have this machine that is helping them do CPR. So when they played the body cam, we can hear the machine, and the machine was basically like 1, 2, 3. Like it was telling you like when to do like your press, like your count for your CPR. So it says that they were using the machine to do CPR, and there was a rhythm, but he didn't have a post. So they were like, so basically what that means is he was flatline, right? And so it says at that moment, they got IO. They gave him 7 milligrams, and then they moved him from the bleachers to the back of the ambulance. They gave him some units of blood, and they went through his rib cage and opened up his rib cage. They stuck their fingers in and pulled out blood in his chest cavity. They said he never from that point regained consciousness. They continued to monitor and doing everything that they could, but it was looking like it was very grim. So it says, so that was what came out from the prosecution. So then the defense, it says the report looks like you got there within, I think this says 6 minutes. Thank you for your service. And then they went to the next witness. So the next witness was Officer Cortez. So it was Officer Eduardo Cortez, and he was the one who actually we saw the body cam footage with. And it says he was a officer for the Frisco PD. He was 45 years old. He was in the United States Reserve. He decided to do a career change and decided to get into law enforcement. It says after they gave like a brief description of like, you know, his life experience or whatever, he decided that he wanted to like be an impact for the community, and he decided that he wanted to be a police officer. So it says that on April 2nd, when this all happened, he got a call over the radio at Staley Middle School. As soon as he got the call, he went to the stadium. After the stadium call came in, he kind of looked at the notes that the dispatch had put in and headed over to the area that it was. So he works at a school that's literally like right next to where this situation happened. It says from there was 2 high school age students. They said the victim was under the memorial tent. So he saw a crowd of folks under that tent. He located the suspect. He continued down the hill that divides the track and stadium area, made his way towards the bleachers. There was an adult on the track side of the field. The man said, "That's the suspect." I looked at his clothing. I had the suspect raise his hands in the air. And I then had, because like, so when he arrived, the Karmelo was on one side of the fence and he was on another side of the fence. And so he told Karmelo, like, keep your hands in the air and then walk until they can get to an opening where he can come and retrieve him. So he said that he told him to like walk until they had like an opening in the fence. He called the suspect with him. He told him to walk with me along the fence line. He was cooperative with the command. He had a body cam on, continued to give instructions, and placed him in handcuffs and went to dispatch radio. Said there was an alleged suspect detained. For safety, he alerted other officers. that they didn't have to rush over there because he already had the suspect. It says he was the one who put Karmelo in cuffs, but he said when he went to radio, like he got there and he had to radio like to all the other responding units that they didn't have to like rush because he already got the suspect. Everybody was like trying to make a dash to try to get the suspect. He radioed and was like, "Hey, I got the alleged suspect." And Karmelo offered the words, "It's not alleged. I did it." Okay. So he said, "He put his hands on me. I told him not to." At this point, Officer Ricky comes up, who also had a body cam on, as we escorted him out and asked if the victim is going. Okay, so as they're escorting him out, like they have him handcuffed, Karmelo asks him, he's like, "Is he gonna be okay?" Like very concerned about the victim. He says, "Is he gonna be okay?" And so it says that he escorted him out, asked if the victim is going to be okay. And the officer told him that he didn't know. Like, I don't know. He noticed an injury to Karmelo's hands. He had blood on his middle finger. And he had to listen close to see what Karmelo said after reviewing the body cam footage. There was no incident during transport. So basically, when they were trying to like get Karmelo in cuffs into the car, he didn't give them no resistance. He didn't get them any type of like he wasn't resisting arrest. He didn't make it hard. Like he didn't try to run. He didn't try to escape. He just accepted what was going on. He expressed concern for the victim, and they took him to the car smoothly. It says, so after that, then they put on the video of the officer running from one, like his school site to where Karmelo is. So they start the body cam. You see him running, trying to get to the area where they say that Karmelo is. He makes contact with Karmelo. He gets him. And once he gets him, that's when he told Karmelo to put his hands in the air, and he had him walk along the fence. And then he said that he was cooperative and he complied. They then showed a photo of Karmelo's hands in cuffs with a cut on his left middle finger while he was sitting in the back of a police car. They said, "Are you familiar with the weapons policy?" And that they are prohibited. So when the officer was testifying, they put up a picture of the weapons policy. Actually, you know what? I should have did this before I went live, but let me see. ISD policy sign. Let me see if there's images of it. If I can't find, let's see. Okay, I don't see the one that they showed in court. We'll move on. I was seeing if I could do a quick Google to show the sign that they showed in court. But anyways, so all right, so let's get back to it. Okay, so they showed a sign. So when you go to that stadium, they have a sign that is on the fence. It's a big blue banner sign. And on the sign, it says alcohol. Okay, so it says field and track Event. Hold on, let me see. Let me put field and track event sign. Okay, I can't find it. I'll probably just have to look up photos of that stadium to get it. But anyways, I'll just read to y'all. So they showed a sign on the fence. There's this big blue banner sign. On the sign, it said, field and track is for events only. And then it listed what things are prohibited into the stadium. It says tobacco, alcohol, drugs, weapons, and pets are strictly prohibited all ISD property. So they make sure to tell the officer, hey, are you aware of the weapons policy? And then they put up this big sign that clearly states that weapons are prohibited and you're not to have weapons, you're not to have drugs, you're not to have tobacco, and you're not to have alcohol on all ISD property. So after they show the picture of that sign, then they show the officer's body cam. And they say that, okay, so how does your body cam work? Like when you go to a scene of a crime, does your body cam just automatically start? Or does your body cam have to be activated? Okay. So the body cam has to be activated. So when he see that there might be a situation going on, he can start the body cam and he has the power to stop the body cam. Okay. Period. So it says, I wrote, they showed the body cam and they explained how he has to turn on his body cam. And that's what he did that morning. They showed a 4-minute clip of his body cam where he runs up, he gets Karmelo, he radio in and he says, I have the alleged suspect. And then when he says, I have the alleged suspect, then you heard Karmelo cry. Karmelo starts crying and he says, he put his hands on me. I told him not to. Like he started crying. And then he said, is he going to be okay? And then that's what he asked the police. And the police, he asked the one in the police car and then they tell him that he goes to Centennial and that he's in the 12th grade. He asked the cop about what was Karmelo's demeanor? Like, how did he come off? And so he said that he was able to answer questions calm. And then they wanted to know, why did he want to know how old Karmelo was? And so he said, in the state of Texas, if you're 17, you are considered an adult. But if you're 16 and younger, you're considered juvenile. So in Texas, it's very important for them to be able to establish any students that they're dealing with age first, because that determines if they go to the juvenile jail or if they go to the big boy jail. Okay. So then after they said that, it says you're considered a juvenile if you're 16 and younger. And then after that, they showed a different angle of the body cam. So there was another officer that came and they showed her body cam footage. And you can hear on her body cam a little bit clearer than you can hear his body cam, where Karmelo responded. And he says, when the officer radios and says, hey, you know, I got the alleged suspect, you guys can slow down. Karmelo says, I'm not alleged. I did it. Like, so he's like letting them know, like, you got the guy. Like, I did it. Like, I'm owning up. Like, I did do it. Like, it was me. So then it was time for the defense to go. And they wanted to know, so you were the first to arrive and identify Karmelo. He said, I want to talk first about your training. You go through a training period with the academy. It's important to document everything correctly. You made an incident report and everything you documented was accurate. Is that fair? That's fair to say. The video starts when you turn it on to when you take Melo to the car, and the full body cam shows all the way to the jail. They wanted to know, do you recall seeing when the coach put his arms around Karmelo? And he was like, I don't recall. Is it fair to say Melo was emotional? He said, at times. But at the time he said he put his hands on me, he was emotional. And so he said that in his report, like you put in your report that he was emotional, basically. And they said in the car, he was also emotional throughout. Fair? So then the officer says, I don't remember. So the defense is like, you put it in your report that he was emotional, right? Like, well, when he made that one statement, he was emotional, but I don't know, like, that's kind of what, like, it was given, like, yeah, I may have put he was emotional in the report, but I was only referring to that one time when he said he put his hands on me. Any other time, I don't know if he was emotional or not. So the guy was like, okay, so you didn't see tears? Like, you didn't hear his tone? Like, you weren't able to, like, discern his emotions? Because the officer was trying to make it seem like, I don't know, I wasn't really paying attention like that to, like, so he was like, but you can hear what he was crying though, right? Like, you can hear his tone, right? Like, so when he's going through this spat about trying to get him to be more forthcoming about Karmelo being emotional, I looked and I panned and I looked at one of the jurors, one of the male, like the older guys. He like gave like the defense like this smug look, like he didn't do that gesture, but in my head, the way the smug look, like he giving him that, like, I don't know how to explain it, but that white man look, like he didn't do, like, it's hard to describe because he didn't make his face didn't move. I'm just a black woman, so like that's how, like, my facial expression of what he did would be like. He didn't do that. He was like, I don't know how to explain it, but he just had that, the white man version of without moving. I don't know how to say it, but anyways. So the lawyer was basically trying to like tell him, like, you did hear him crying though, like you heard crying sounds, right? And he says, yes. So it says, when you first arrived, there is a fence between you and Melo, fair? And then that's when I put my note in about the juror. Then it says, Karmelo, he was not resistant and he complied when he was given his name, and he even offered to spell it. It's common for suspects not to give their names like when they commit a crime, right? Like sometimes they'll give you a fake name. And then he said, they probably have. He said, but Karmelo didn't do that. Like he was like the defense was trying to drive home the fact that Karmelo was forthcoming with you, right? Like he wasn't trying to give you a fake name. He wasn't trying to give you a hard time. Like that's kind of what they're trying to drive home. But the officer is trying to like downplay everything as much as possible. He's trying to make it seem like he don't really, like, I don't know, sometimes maybe they do give fake names. I don't know, they may have. I'm sure they have before. Like that kind of thing. Because the officer was like, you know, like we know, like anybody that has watched a cop show or watched true crime, we've all seen interactions on true crime shows and like cop shows where people give fake names all the time. But the officer is like, they may have, like, maybe, like they may have. So I put a note and I said, the witness is a little hostile with the defense due to him asking about the statement that he made in his report about Karmelo being emotional. It says, they said, well, Melo made that statement on his own. And it says, you have had suspects that don't give a name. It's very common, right? He said, it's happened in my career. He said, it's happened in my career. Like, I mean, I'm sure it happened before. That's kind of like what it gave, like it wasn't like a normal, like a current thing. Like, it's happened in my career. So he said, okay, so on the way to the car, so then after that, he wanted to bring up the statement that Karmelo made on the way to the car when he made the statement, like he got emotional. He's like, he put his hands on me. So the defense was basically trying to ask, like, okay, so when exactly did he make the statement about him putting his hands on me? The guy looked at the juror and said, he looked at the jury and he said, I don't remember when it was he said it, but whatever the video shows, that's when he said it. I was like, oh, like, this is getting awkward, because the guy is just trying to point out that you put it in a report that Karmelo was emotional. You heard him being emotional. You literally have body cam of him crying. All I'm trying to do is to flesh out you to elaborate on your experience with him being emotional. And now suddenly you got amnesia. And it only happened once. And it wasn't really, and you not really trying to give what you put in this report. Like you put in your report, it's not just on the body cam. Like you put this in your report that he was emotional. And so now you trying to act like, if he was emotional, y'all seen the body cam, when he said it. Y'all watched the video already. Like that was kind of his attitude. Like I was like, what's that about? So then he started asking him about if he is aware of times people have killed people with their hands. Because he's like, okay, so let's get off of that. In your career, you know that there are times when people have even killed people with their hands before. And then the officer was like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, that's kind of like what he was giving, like, maybe, like, I'm sure it's happened before. And I was just like waiting for the defense to really like, I don't know, like what he needed to ask or how he needed to do it or how he needed to impeach him. And I don't know what motions they can't say, what they can't bring up or whatever. But I'm like, you need him. Like, it is important to know, like, it's important for the jury to understand that your client, which even with him not fleshing it out more, like, it's clear that Karmelo was remorseful. It's clear that he didn't think that Austin would die. It's clear that even though he didn't think that he was going to die, he did lose his life. But it's like, that if this ain't no kid that stabbed somebody and then he just didn't give a F about it. Like, he showed emotion. You even documented it. Like, that this man was remorseful immediately, not after he got sentenced, not after, like, immediately, So then he said, that a knife under 5.5 inches is not a crime or unlawful to carry. And then the officer said, correct. So the lawyer is kind of trying to drive home that, okay, maybe they didn't say that. Maybe there is a sign that say that you can't carry it into the stadium, but the overall Texas law is he was within his lawful right to carry it legally. So he said a knife under 5.5 inches is not a crime or unlawful to carry. The cop said correct. And then they got their next witness. So the next witness was a person by the name of Jacob Shaw. He's a 40-year-old man that was a Frisco PD since 2019. He says it's something that he really enjoys. He likes working as a school resource officer. He said in this coming week, he's going to be taking kids on a week-long retreat for kids who have interest in becoming a police officer. That's a thing that they're doing this week. Then they wanted to know what the weather is like. So each person that they basically have on the stand, they have a time where they establish what the weather was like. So he says, hey, what was the weather like? He said it was heavy to intermittent rain throughout the whole day. He said he was about 200 yards from the stadium and from where his building was at. And he says that he drove and made his way there and saw it was a little bit chaotic and wanted to keep first responders safe and do scene security. He saw Austin when the trainers were working on him. The rain picked up while they were working on Austin. He put up the crime scene tape and he basically established like a perimeter around the crime scene. Now, at this point in time, it must have been later in the day because I put a note because I'm like, there are no clocks in this courtroom. I don't know why I documented that, but we don't have no devices in the courtroom. People can't bring you can't bring a smartwatch. You can't bring a phone. You can't bring no electronic device at all. And then when you get in the courtroom, they don't have no clocks anywhere. So when we in there, we don't have a gauge of time. So while they was giving a testimony, I'm wondering like, what time is it? And I noticed that there's no clocks. That's neither here nor there for y'all, but I'm just sharing with y'all just little random notes that I'll be writing down. So anyway, so he gets to the scene. He establishes a perimeter of the crime scene with the crime scene tape. He runs the crime scene tape around where he thought the incident was located. Another officer created a crime scene lock where there was witnesses there who claimed they saw everything and can point you in the direction of the weapon. The student says it's up there. The student name, I'm not going to reveal. It says they were able to find and locate the knife. It was 3 to 4 rows up from the crime scene. And then his backpack was near the knife a few rows apart. It says they showed another angle of the tent where they were working on Austin. And in the bleachers, there was a picture of Karmelo's backpack. Then they showed a picture of the knife. It was a pocket knife. So basically, you guys know the pocket knives. Hold on. The pocket knives that open up and then they fold down. Let me pull up a picture of a pocket knife real quick. I'm trying to see one that looks like the one that they had, but this is not what it looked like. It had a silver handle and a black blade, but this I'm gonna just show y'all what hold on. Wait, pocket knife 3.5 inches. It was something like this. Let me share my screen so y'all can see the type of knife that it was. This is not the exact one. This is just me Googling something that looks similar. All right. The difference is this ain't the real one, but the one that he had where it has the black handle that you hold on to, it was a silver handle. And then the blade was, or no, it was a, hold on. It was a silver handle with a black blade, and it was a small pocket knife that opens and closes. So as you can see, this pocket knife, this is how it looks like when it's open, and then it retracts and closes. So this is not the color of his, but that's similar to what he had, so that you guys can get an understanding of the knife that we're talking about. It was a 3.5 inch blade. They mentioned in opening statements that Karmelo loves to camp. This is something that people have when they normally camp or keep on them for self-defense. I own several pocket knives like that. Like, I keep stuff like this in my car, along with other more powerful things. But, you know, these are things that people regularly carry. Like, they brung up some of the things that people use them for. Some people use them for, like somebody said in the comments, like a regular utility knife. Some people use them to cut like seat belts. Like, officers have these type of knives to like do rescue and cut seat belts and or cut certain things when they go camping. I'm trying to see if there's a connection between him camping and this pocket knife. I'm interested to see, but let's continue. So it says, okay, so they show the knife. It has a silver handle with a black blade. It's a small pocket knife that closes and opens. Then they showed another photo where you can see Austin's blood on the knife. And then immediately when they showed this photo where they zoomed in on the knife and then it has his blood, then Austin mom started to like get emotional. You know, like, I'm sitting on the row, like either sometimes they're like a row in front of me or they're like literally right next to me. So I saw like his mom, she starts immediately tearing up. So I'm like noting everything. So when the officers located the knife, it started to rain. And because there was blood on the knife and they didn't want the rain to rinse away the blood, but they didn't have the proper person to collect the evidence yet, what they did was they went and found a random tarp. They put the tarp over the knife, and then they used the kids' track shoes to hold the tarp down so that it wouldn't move. Then the shoes was like, you know, oh, this probably not going to be heavy enough. So then they looked around to see like what book bags can be on there to like weigh down the tarp so that whoever comes to collect the evidence, it's not, the blood doesn't wash away. So one of the backpacks that they pick up to secure the knife was Karmelo's backpack, but at the time they didn't know that that was his backpack. They just picking up backpacks so that they could be able to you know, secure the knife, because the blood, they don't want it to wash away, because now the rain is getting heavy, and at the same time they're down there working on Austin. So then they wanted to show the tarp and where the knife was. They showed another photo where you can see Now, the first photo, you can see that there was blood on the knife. And then the next photo, you can see that there was rain and blood. So like the rain, you can see like raindrops on the knife. And then you could also see like blood mixing in. And then the next thing they did was put the tarp on. So I said, then after they did that, the prosecutor goes and he's putting on gloves. Like he got a box of black gloves at the table. And so he starts to put on his black gloves. And when he puts on his gloves, he goes and says, this is the real knife. And then so he's like, we want to publish whatever exhibit, the real knife. Blah, blah, blah. So then he gets the real knife. And then he's like, this is the real knife. And then he takes the real knife that got the blood on it to the jury. Right? Then he put it away. He like, okay, now that they saw the real knife, put that away. Then he's like, okay, now this is a replica of the knife. So they showed the real knife. And then when they wanted to do further demonstrations with the knife, then they got a replica. Once they got the replica, they called down the detective so that he can demonstrate how fast you can open up the knife, right? So how fast you can go from closed to open in a matter of like seconds. Like you could go like whip it out. Then the guy wasn't doing it fast enough. So he like, telling the guy like, do it faster, like trying to demonstrate like how quick you could get this knife from closed to open real fast. So the jurors are able to see this, and then they're demonstrating how fast you can open it. So then this is when they show the body cam, and they make it like, this whole thing like, oh, we made sure that we could show this, right? All this stuff. So they show the body cam, and immediately when they show the body cam, it's so sad because you see the body cam and then you hear all of the kids reacting. You hear, you see them go into the scene and trying to figure out what's going on. And while the officer's trying to figure out what's going on, Austin is laid out on the bleachers, and they're trying to do chest compressions. And it's like we're getting the view of the officer. So the officer pans to Austin's direction, and so then you get a glimpse of him where his face is colorless, and then it pans across from him, and then you see the scene, and then all you hear is kids. They crying, they're hysterical. It's like chaos, and like you hear a little boy say, that's my best friend, that's my brother, that's my best friend, that's my brother. And then you see the cop like walking around the scene, and then you see it pan, and then you see them, working on Austin. And while they're working on Austin on his chest, they're like, please, like, trying to get him to not lose his life. So then you see a boy appear that he witnessed where Karmelo had threw the knife. So he says, they're like, oh, he knows where the knife is or whatever. So then we went to lunch, came back, and then they asked the last witness if weapons are permitted. He said, weapons is not permitted. He said, correct. And then it says, do you expect to run into an armed student? He said, no, sir. So then it was time for cross from the defense. The defense says, I want to take you back a bit to the state's exhibit 88, the duplicate knife tool. We talked about it's commonly referred to as a multi-tool. That's correct. It's called a multi-tool because they have things on it. And so basically he was saying, like, like multi-tools, like some of them, they'll like, you can pull off, you can open up the knife, and then some of them will have like, it'll have like a knife, and then it'll have like not a what's it called when it's not a Phillips, but it's like a like an octagon shape or whatever. Like, you know, the different tools that it be having on it. Like it'll have that cork thing, the cork opener. So he was explaining like why it's called a multi-tool, because you have all of these different tools on it. Now, Karmelo's didn't look like a multi-tool. It looked just like a pocket knife. But he was explaining like, well, it's called a multi-tool because, you know, it has all these different tools on there, etc. And then he said, whatever you want to call it. So then he says, we see you in the video. It starts raining harder. That's when y'all decided to use the tarp to place it over the weapon. He said, yes, sir. It says government asked about weapons being not permitted, right? So he is like, they said that weapons aren't permitted, right? And then he says, but you are aware that it even like the most that you'll do by bringing a weapon is violate a policy, but it's not a crime. Like you may violate a school policy, but you are not committing a crime to carry a knife under 5.5 inches. And then he said it's not a crime to carry a knife under 5.5 inches. And then it was time for the next witness. So the next witness is a person by the name of Stephanie Martin. She is a criminalist with the Frisco Police Department. She gets called out to the crime scene and talks to the people who has the most info. So she gets to the scene. Whoever has the most info, like whichever deputy has like the most info. You sent me a banner. Can you clear something up that I've been reading on Facebook? Was it 4 students that approached Karmelo? And does the video show Melo being grabbed by the hoodie, yanked back under the tent? And did Austin put Karmelo in a headlock? Now, I don't know. Well, I do know. There was somebody who, like, I guess did a video saying that they saw Karmelo get jumped by 4 people on the school video. Now, I can only go off of what is shown in court. Now, if that individual, because there was somebody, like all of the blogs and all of the, like, I seen a lot of media. There was like a guy who he was saying that he saw him getting jumped by 4 people and he saw it on the video. Now, whatever video he saw, I did not see that in court. Now, that's not to say that he didn't see it somewhere, because I don't know what motions were, like what evidence was struck out. But the video that we saw in court of the incident where this happened, you see blobs. Like it wasn't anything to where you could really see a lot. You kind of see like figures, like you can see like a blob, like you can't like make out what's what. It's like you see like you see figures of kids, like it's not dots, it's a little more than dots. Like you can see like it's a body, but you can't make out who that really is. It's like really blurry. And so you see on the film, you can see kids walking, you can see people like as they get closer to where the camera is, and you can see movement, like you can see bodies moving, but you can't really see under that tent to see what's really going on. All you really see under the tent, like everything outside of the tent is more clear than what you see like under the tent, right? So when they zoom in to the tent, you see kids sitting around. And they're sitting around. You got outside people moving around, and then you see kids run. So that's how they determine that there was like that's where the incident is, because you see just kids sitting in place, and then you see them run. You know? So anyways, I've been seeing people ask that a lot. I was in the courtroom. The person who was saying that, I didn't see them in the courtroom. I've been in the courtroom every single day. Maybe I didn't notice them come in the courtroom. I don't know, but I didn't see that. I've seen a grainy video that's blurry. And then when they enhance the video, because the expert enhanced the video, and the enhanced video, they didn't show the enhanced version to us. They showed us the grainy video, and we didn't see much of anything. So yeah, that's what I saw. And I don't think that lying about the evidence does him any justice. So I don't know if the guy's like trying to like make Karmelo look more of a victim. Karmelo was bullied. He was bullied. However, the jury didn't see that. So y'all saying, oh, it's people that jumped him. We didn't see that. You know? Somebody said, Neek, did y'all see the pic when they beat him? No. Who beat him? No, we didn't see that. We didn't see that. You say you couldn't see, and others say they could see. What the F is going on? So you didn't see him getting jumped or them gathering around him. Do I need to... Like, I feel like I'm like, you know, like if I was writing on a piece of paper, I feel like I'm writing regular. Like, do you need me to speak it in cursive? That didn't happen in court when I was in there, and I've been in there every single day. I did not see that. That was not shown to the jury, and that was not shown to the court. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, do you think I'm lying to you, or you think like they're telling you? Like, go with who you believe. I don't know. I'm going with what I saw, which wasn't that. So, you know. Anyways, all right. So, boom, boom, boom. Where was I at? Oh, we were at Stephanie. Okay, so Stephanie is the criminalist with the Frisco Police Department. She gets a call to the crime scene and talks to the person who has the most info up to the point, usually a detective, then process the crime scene. She has processed about 8,000 scenes in her career. She documents the scene through photographs. And on April 2nd, she was called to process the crime scene. She talked to a lieutenant to see what happened up to this point, and items that might be evidence are pointed out to her. Things important to collect. She was directed to the north side of the students. She went over the items. She collected the pocket knife, Karmelo's backpack, an article of clothing. She took a photo to get the scene as it was, like when she first arrived, and then she took a photo once she put all the placards out. She showed a photo of a bloody jacket, like basically like one of the coaches used his jacket to do the compressions, and the jacket, the inside of the jacket was all bloody with Austin's blood. So they showed the photo of the jacket that was bloody. Then they showed a picture of Austin's shoe. Like, it was like, oh, whose shoe is that? It was like a random shoe that was on the bleachers. And then they were like, oh, this is Austin's shoe. Then they showed Karmelo's backpack. Then they showed a photo of the pocket knife. It was 3.5-inch long blade. They showed a blade, the blade of how long it was next to the ruler. And then they showed what was in his backpack. So they pulled out all of the contents that was in Karmelo's backpack. And in his backpack, you can see that he had Cheez-Its, an Afro pick, what looked like it possibly was homework, a Nike head mask that goes over the face, and jewelry. Then they showed Karmelo's Essentials gray hoodie that had a small blood stain on the front. And when she got his backpack, it was open, and the front, I think the zipper part was closed. Then they passed the witness. So the defense says, let's go back over the contents of his backpack. So he walked her through everything that was in the backpack. So he said, that's a wallet. You see, this is his homework paper. He got a charging cable for his phone. He got peanuts. He got Cheez-Its. And then he points out the two papers that I wrote down look like homework papers. Those two papers had Peppa Pig on it. So it was like a Peppa Pig crossword search. And then the other one was a Scooby-Doo crossword puzzle. And so he wanted him to notice, like, you notice that that's a Peppa Pig crossword puzzle, and this is a Scooby-Doo crossword puzzle. Like, I guess trying to make it seem like, look, he childish. I don't know. Or what? I looked at it like it looked like a homework assignment. So I didn't understand the relevance, but maybe they were saying like, look, he like Peppa Pig still. I don't know. But anyways, so then he went to like another picture of like what was in his backpack. And in the other picture, it showed the Afro pick. He had Aquaphor. He had a pen and pencil. He had car keys. He had hand warmers for camping or in the code. So there was this orange thing that hand warmers go in, right? And he wanted to point out that this is important. Pay attention to this. Look. Isn't that, like, you see that one thing, this orange, this black and orange thing? Yeah, they were showing his innocence. My bad. Not that he childish. Innocence. He said, and that thing right there is a hand warmer for camping or in the cold. So I said, they mentioned camping in the opening statements. They made it a point to mention that these hand warmers are for camping. I'm willing to bet that self-defense strategy had the knife explanation. I feel like it's gonna be something that got to do with camping or something to that effect, because he made it a point. Because when I seen that, I didn't even know that was hand warmers or like okay, like, you know what I mean? But he wanted to make sure that it was, these are hand warmers for camping. So, you know, I don't know. We're gonna see if there is some relevance. And again, I don't know Karmelo's mama. I don't know his daddy. I don't know anybody. Like, I don't know what his defense is. It could be something that don't got nothing to do with camping. But I'm like listening to all the key things, because each of the, like, they had interviewed like 5 or 6 students, and they were asking them, did you hear any cursing? Did anybody curse? And I'm like, why y'all keep, in my head, I was thinking, why y'all keep pointing out that you didn't hear nobody cursing? You didn't hear nobody cursing. You didn't hear nobody. I was like, so one of these students must come up saying that they heard cursing, or, you know what I mean? And then lo and behold, they kept stressing the point of, like, did you hear curse words to all these other kids? Because then later there was kids that said, this person said, motherfucker, pussy, da, 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 you know what I mean? So I feel like there's a reason for that, but I don't know. I don't know what their self-defense explanation is. All I know is it's clear that Karmelo takes a lot of pictures. And if the knife was a part of his camping tools, I'm sure that there's going to be evidence of a camping trip, perhaps, or maybe he went on a camping trip with the school. Or maybe that was a school event. Like, I don't know. I don't know. That's just my guess, that the explanation has something to do with camping, but I could be totally off base. Anyways, all right. We'll see once he testifies if that is the case. And if I'm wrong, damn, I was off. If I'm right, then that girl good. But we'll see. So anyways, he went back over so he went back over the pictures in the book. So he pointed out that, he had the Afro pick, the Aquaphor, a pen and pencil, keys, a hand warmer for camping or in the cold. And then he showed the other photos. And then I put a little note to myself. I said he skipped over that because it was like 3 pictures that they took of his backpack. Like they had spread his backpack along the floor. And you know how they took one picture of what's right here, took a picture right here, and took right here. I put a note to myself. I said, the prosecution mentioned that he had a face mask that go over your face. I said, but when the defense was like zeroing in and making them go over the contents of that backpack, I said, well, they didn't go over that picture that about that face mask again. Next witness. All right. So the next witness is a teammate of his. I cannot say his name, but he is a football player that does track and field. And immediately when he gets on the stand, the prosecution wanted to point out the fact that he got a stress ball in his hand. So he walks in, and he got a stress ball in his hand, right? And so the prosecution was like, you got your stress ball or whatever? And he wanted to point out that, he's nervous. He needs his stress ball for support or whatever. So he got this stress ball in his hand and he need the stress ball for support. So he said that he asked him if he knows the Metcalfs and what he was doing that day. He was going to an 800-meter event and he got there by bus. He doesn't recall if the Metcalfs were on the bus with them. We went to Austin's brother, Hunter. He was there. So they went down there and they went to the middle school together. So basically they got to the track meet and a few of them, Austin, Hunter, and then 3 of their friends went to the middle school that's right next door to the stadium. So they all went to go hang out at the middle school for a little bit and then they came back together. So he was in the group that went with Austin to the middle school. Now I can't identify like his name, but I'm going to say like the race so that you guys can see the racial dynamic of each kid. This was a white kid. And all the kids that went with him to the middle school, they were all white kids. So so he lists out the kids that went with them. It was Austin, Hunter, and 3 other kids. So they left Staley's and went to the stadium about 9:45 or 9:50. One of the kids so basically it was 4 kids that went to Centennial and then 1 kid that went to a different school. So I was waiting for the defense to point out the fact, and they did not focus on this enough. When Austin and Hunter came to the stadium right before they went to meet up with Karmelo, they're putting big emphasis on Karmelo didn't belong in a tent, right? But clearly it is they're like maybe it's not the culture to sit under a person's tent, but Austin and Hunter, when they went to the middle school, they were hanging out. The 5th kid did not go to their school. So it was 5 of them. They went to the middle school next door. They hung out with the teachers. When they were heading back, Austin, his brother, and then 2 kids went to memorial tent. One of the kids that was with them, that was hanging out with them when they all went to the school, he went to a different school. So when they went to their tent, this kid who was just hanging out with them at the track meet, he went to his bus. And so I was waiting for the defense to really bring that home. Now it is their case in chief, and all of the kids are subject to recall. So maybe for their case in chief, they may call that student that was hanging out with Austin and them, that did not go to the school, but they was all hanging out together that day, and they all went to the middle school together. Maybe they're going to recall him in their case in chief. They still putting on a case and prove more of the fact of, and keep driving it home that, these kids hang out. They hang, like, different schools are hanging out, like, and they need to bring that back up in the jury's mind. I just remembered it right now because I'm reading my notes, but the jurors don't take notes. None of the jurors take any notes. They just sitting there and they listening. So you think after all of this testimony, they're going to remember any of that? No. Let's give Ruby some attention. She is a profile that is watching from Facebook, and she wants attention. She's clearly sent over here by these rage baiters that are clearly lying. And I'm waiting to see if there's any people who have recorded me walking up to the line, because we can clearly debunk some of these lies if people send me their videos, because they're clearly lying. And I know that y'all who have been coming up to the courthouse, somebody got a video that proves it. But she wants attention because she's sent by certain individuals that, send them over to, say silly stuff. And we just wanted to spotlight her because she's bored. Anyways, moving on. So let's see. Okay, so that student went back to his bus because he went to a different school. And so they wanted him to list who he remembered seeing when he got back to the tent. He listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boys. So it was a total of 8 boys that he listed, including Austin. And that were there. Now, 8 boys, and all of these 8 boys, there has been some type of testimony that either another student said, this person said something, or they have testified themselves and said that they talked to Karmelo. But clearly it was 8 boys who were saying stuff to him based on the different testimony that people are either saying, oh, such and such said something to him, and then another person testifies, such and such said something to him. And it turns out like all of these boys was saying something to him. So all right. So he says, what do you remember about the day? I remember it pouring down rain at Staley. Then the rain cleared and they went back to the tent. They saw Karmelo and the event happened. He said Karmelo didn't go to Memorial, but he had on Centennial school gear. He was hanging out with this one student, and I need to figure out is the news reporting the name of the boy that Karmelo went to go see? Because they didn't say his age when he testified. We can't identify minors, but if he's 18 years old, let me see. Is the news, hold on. Is the news identifying his name? CBS News is reporting his name. I'm trying to see. Oh, I can't click on that. Anyways, I'm gonna get confirmation before I say his name, because if he's a minor, I can't say his name, but if he's 18, I can. But it's too late for me to contact the media guy to ask him. But anyways, I'll figure it out. So let's see. Okay, so he sees this kid that he knows, right? And he goes up to him and he daps him up. Okay. And thank you for the super chat. You said, thank you, Nick, for your hard work and bringing us the facts of the case. I know it must be really mentally exhausting dealing with all the drama at the court. Yes, it is. It's very mentally exhausting. Okay. So he goes up to this kid. Where was I at? Okay, so he remembers going under the tent. He lists 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kids that 8 boys that were under the tent. And then he said the girls were at the bottom of the tent. They wanted to know what the weather was like. He says, I remember it pouring down rain at Staley. Then the rain cleared and they went back to the tent. They saw Karmelo and the event happened. He didn't go to Memorial. He had on Centennial school gear. He was hanging out with Blank. He dapped Blank up. They talked. Then I remember people confronting Melo saying, you need to leave our tent. Austin, another student that is a black kid, and I also said you should leave. And then he says that even though 3 of us, okay, he said 3 students told Karmelo to leave. So the prosecution was like, but you didn't gang up on him, right? And you guys didn't gang up on him. And he said that they didn't gang up on him. So he claims that even though it was multiple of them telling Karmelo he needs to leave, he said they didn't gang up on him. To me, that's ganging up on somebody, but according to him, they got different definitions. It's Karmelo is provoking him. So he says that he was a distance away and he doesn't recall if it was said in an angry tone. Karmelo was sitting down, and so was Austin was standing up. It says everyone else was seated, and then it got more aggressive. Melo refused to leave, and Austin said, you need to leave. And Melo said, touch me and find out. That, like, if we really being honest, that sequence doesn't make sense. Somebody say, you need to leave. And then the next person's response is, touch me and find out. Clearly, there's a missing piece there. Is the jury connecting that missing piece? I don't know. But he says that they told Karmelo multiple times, Karmelo, you need to leave. You need to get out of our tent. You need to go. They didn't gang up on him. They not getting aggressive. They saying it calm. The tone is moderate. And then they saying, you need to leave. And then Karmelo's response is, touch me and find out. Now, my critical thinking skills, there's a piece missing. You say, touch me and find out when somebody act like they finna touch you. You get what I'm saying? Because if that's the only time I'm going to tell somebody, touch me and find out, is when I feel like they think that they finna touch me. But is the jury connecting those dots? I don't know. They're not in Texas court. They don't take notes. I feel like cases like this, it's important for them to take notes, because you could go back to your notes in the jury room and remember your state of mind, or you know what I mean? Out here in Texas, they don't write notes. So that's interesting. So anyways, so they wanted to know if they both were angry, and he says both were angry. And then they told Karmelo that he needs to leave about 15 times. They told him to get out the tent. Him and Austin were telling him to get out, and says that they didn't gang up on him. He thought it would be, he was like, yeah, they was like, oh, you thought that it would be like a minor pushing. He was like, yeah, I just thought that it was just gonna be like, well, they didn't gang up on him, but I thought that it was just gonna be like a minor push, like I didn't really think that it was gonna be no big deal. I just thought it was, it was just gonna be a minor push. So he says that he thought it was gonna be minor pushing at most. They wanted to know, well, how long did this whole, like, them going back and forth at each other, like, how long that this happened for? He said that it happened for roughly 2 minutes. Austin took the lead to get Melo out the tent. Both Austin and Melo were angry. Melo said, touch me and find out. He was mad and trying to escalate the situation and trying to provoke Austin into maybe starting a fight. Austin was calm, then started getting aggressive, said Karmelo was provoking him. So Austin goes up to Karmelo. Karmelo is sitting down the whole time. Austin is a football player. He a linebacker. He's 6'1" and 213 pounds. Karmelo is like 5'8", 130, maybe 140 soaking wet. He coming up to him while he's sitting down. Karmelo, to me, if I'm provoking you to fight, that means that when you stood up, I stood up. And I hope that the defense can drive this home, because y'all need to drive this home. Where I come from, if somebody come at you sideways and they talking shit to you and you talking shit to them and you still stay seated, that's not when the fight is challenged. The fight is challenged when I stand up and then I tell you, like, what you gonna do about it. Like, if I get up, you standing up. Austin is standing up. Provoking Austin would be Karmelo also standing up and saying, make me leave, like up in his face. That's provoking a fight. How is Austin the one who's up, the one who is getting in Karmelo's face, who Karmelo stays seated the entire time? He stays seated the entire time. But and somebody said blaming the victim. No, keeping the facts real. It's no doubt that Austin lost his life. It's no doubt that because he lost his life, he is the victim of this case. However, just because he is the victim does not change the events that happened. He got in his face while he was still sitting down. He is the one who put his hands on him, and before he stood up and got in his face, Karmelo never touched him until he touched him first. So they're framing it like Austin wanted him to move. Austin wanted to get him out the tent. Austin got up, and, he got up and put his hands on Karmelo. And then the prosecution's like, but who provoked the fight? Karmelo provoked it. Whose fault was it? It was Carmelo's fault because he wasn't listening. So he provoked the fight because he told him he wasn't leaving. So that was him provoking the fight. And in my brain, I'm like, that don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. Like, if Karmelo was Austin and Austin was Karmelo and Austin was sitting down and Karmelo was up, that's provoking the fight to me. But that's the narrative that they are driving home, and that's the narrative that I feel a lot of the jurors are also, going with. Somebody in the chat said, go get an adult. I mean, that's easy to say in hindsight, but is that always reality? Like, let's be real here. If he runs and goes and gets an adult, then they're going, like, if they're this brazen to bully him, and it's like, these are people that he got to see at the track meets. He got to go to track meets. He's in football. If Karmelo has Austin getting in his face, telling him he leaves, and he allows them to punk him, they're going to do it more. So you have to put yourself in a teenager's shoes. This is a boy who is having a group of boys, including the boy that he thought was cool, all come at him sideways. If he runs and goes get a teacher, it sounds good in hindsight, but he's at that point, he's not going to, like, nah, that's not gonna go. It's not gonna go like that. Like, be like I know our emotions be coming into play, but you got to think, like, put yourself in the moment. Like, you at the bleachers, it's raining, and this kid knows that it's raining, but you got the audacity to act like I'm violating. And mind you, Karmelo was at the edge of the tent. Like, each person that testifies, some people say he under the tent, another person say he outside the tent, he at the edge of the tent. So what we do know is, at the least, he's at the edge. So it's like, it's raining, it's raining, that I know Eddie, but Eddie being a little buster, and nah, like, reality, I don't see a boy doing that and it working well for him. Like, letting them punk him, they're gonna keep punking him if he let them punk him. Like, I'm realistic. Like, I don't necessarily think that he should have, like, like, it rose to the level, like, ooh, boom, stab him, but like, I wouldn't have moved. I gotta put, like, if I go to talk to a dude that I just was at a track meet with 10 days prior. I've been under this tent before, and somebody just come, like, talking to me sideways. Like, who are you talking to? Like, you're not talking to me. Like, I'm not moving nothing, because it's not what you say, it's how you say. And it's not the fact that he asked him to leave. It's the fact that he came at, like, how he came at him, and how Eddie also,